Grana Weep Ninibang, and welcome back to my channel where we talk about all things Transformers and Transformers action figure related. And I finally found the time and I finally got round to being able to do this review on the Powermaster version of Optimus Prime from Fans Hobbies. So this is actually called Powermaster. So yeah, I've actually finally been able to get to doing this, and this is actually one of my, I suppose you call it grail items, but not really a grail item because it wasn't difficult to get. But for those of you who know the history of this channel, I was a collector years and years and years ago, and I've got back into collecting recently and decided to do a YouTube channel to support my new growing collection. And then when I first started looking at other people's collections and thinking, oh, what do I want to get, the bot mode of this really struck out. I really saw this in a few people's collections and I was like, wow, what is that? Because for me, going back, this is actually one of the last primes that I bought when I was a kid, or got bought for me when I was a kid. Obviously the original Powermaster version of this. So I definitely wanted to pick this up as I saw that this looked like a really good version. So today we're going to find out, should you actually meet your heroes? Because this is something that I wanted for a while. So we're going to start off with a little history. So who is this version of Optimus Prime? So this version of Optimus Prime here, depending on where you are, is either, if you are in America, this was originally Powermaster Optimus Prime from the real tail end of G1. Or if you're in Japan, this isn't a Transformer at all. This is actually a Trans-Tector with Jinrai as the pilot, and it just happens to look like Optimus Prime. So it actually comes from the Super God Master Force series, which I shall shortly be getting around to watching again. So as we like to do on this channel, let's start again with the box and how that looks. And this box looks pretty cool. You can see on the front, you can see Beefcake Prime here, definitely fully up to date with his gym membership and tends to go quite regularly here. Light up eyes, his arm cannons, his iron cannons here, a little different to the normal Prime iron cannon. Truck mode picture here with him with his massive cannons on the side. This is Fans Hobby. This is the version 2 of Powermaster Miners, which means that you get a couple of little extras that you didn't get with the original version. Then at the bottom you get his transformed cab mode, his Power Baser, I think they call this guy. No, Power Pilot they call this guy. So this is the Power Pilot and the base mode here. You can see Prime just kind of stalking about behind the base there. So this is really nice little artwork down on the side here. And then on the back we can see Beefcake Prime here. So we can see it there. He has high posability, eyes light up effects. We have his combined mode here. It looks absolutely epic. We have the robot mode here, we have the truck mode, we have a base mode, and then you also have his Power Pilot, aka Jinrai. And then on the top here we have it looks like the truck going through space, looking quite G1 actually, with all of the like the hexa grid underneath this. This actually looks really nice. It's a cool little box. On the side we have Fans Hobby, and then on the other side we have Fans Hobby. So yeah, really nice box. With the box, of course, as always, we get the instructions. Instructions for this guy are in a booklet format. Not really a fan of booklet formats, although this booklet's not too bad because it's got quite a lot of instructions on one page. But really nice detailing as we go through. Good instructions for each transformation. Robot mode, we have his base mode, and then finally on the back we have some nice little pictures here of each one of the modes. MB06, Powermaster, all of the websites and the Instagrams and all these kind of nice things. Here are some nice artwork on the front. It's a full colour, pretty much in some locations, which is quite nice. And the instructions for this are pretty good, fairly detailed. We also get one of these cool little power specs cards with the Powermaster. It looks pretty nice. It's just got the same artwork as we see on the front of the instructions, and then on the back we can see that he has really high strength, really high wisdom, of course, because he's Prime. His speed is a little lacking, but bless him, he is only a cab. He's very courageous, huge firepower, endurance, and he has good tactics. Okay, so then let's look at the main event himself. So this is Powermaster, aka Powermaster Optimus Prime, aka Jinrai. So this is really cool. The truck mode here looks very nice. Classic Prime colors. Obviously you've got your blues, your reds, your silvers. The trailer has a lot of molded detail, which is nice, and it's quite reminiscent of the G1 version of the trailer, especially when you bring out the accessories, which I'll show you in a second. But for me, it's a little bit of a weird shape with the trailer for some reason. Yeah, it's just a bit of a weird trailer. But let's have a little look at as we go in closer. So we have lots of really nice molded detail here on the side of the truck, and then nice little bit of paint here. Obviously no Transformers logos because this is a third party, but you can buy those from other locations and put them on. Wheels on this dude are rubber, always nice to get some rubber wheels on the go. Top of the trailer is nice, lots of molded detail. A lot of the transformation for this bad boy comes directly in this trailer, so obviously this trailer itself has 2 modes. And then at the back you'd see where the doors should be, but because there's so much going on with this trailer does not open. Obviously you can hide a lot of the transformation inside here, and then on the other side you've just got a lot more molded detail, a lot more plastic, and then you've got the rubber wheels here with the nice chromed out hubs. Quite a nice little connector here, and it's a turning connector, so you're going to get all of your different parts here, which is cool. We'll have a little look at the cab. Cab's a bit stocky. It's a little bit of a stumpy cab. Not my favorite Prime cab, this one. Looks okay, but it feels just a little chubby and a little fat. But you get your rubberized wheels on this one as well. You've also got some really nice chromed out hubcaps, and then you've got some nice chrome on the bumper here. You also have a nice chrome grille. I really like the blue, translucent blue that we have here on the plastics on the side, and then we have these really nice chrome. These are actually metal on the back, so this is metal and this is metal as well. There's a little bit of die cast within this, but not a lot. I expected a little bit more, if I'm honest, but you don't get too much. And so the cab itself is quite nice. It rolls, it has really nice chrome parts on it. The trailer hitches up really well, and then it rides along very well. So there's a lot of really nice detail on this. He has a whole wealth of accessories that you can bring on and attach. So first of all, to make him look like his classic version of Prime, with this you have to have these 2 cannons, which again are pretty big plastic cannons, lots of pretty nice molded detail, and then they just peg in to here. And then they also peg in around the other side, so this gives him some really good firepower. Does impact the turning a little bit, obviously, because they just hang out over the sides, but he will still turn. It just impacts that slightly. Then we also get these 2 huge cannons here on the side that have interchangeable for when he's in his gun mode, he's in his truck mode, and when he's in his bot mode. So for the truck mode, these then just peg in here and here, so you can see he is like a mobile truck tank, and I think this looks great when you got all of this on. I think when it's a planar tank, there's a lot of gap here, and tank truck. I think that he looks a bit odd without all of the weapons on. And then he comes with his little Powermaster Jinrai, really nice Powermaster. He just uses these two tabs here just to clip into the front. Here, he does go in quite well. And there we have Prime. When he is all attached up, I think this looks really, really cool. A little disappointed if he hasn't got all of this accessories on it. I don't think he looks quite right. But I think like this, he's a beefy Prime, and I think he looks really, really, really cool. Okay, so I've just had to adapt the booth slightly so you can get a decent enough comparison here. So when you want to see the size of this guy, and he is a big boy, this is how he compares up to like an MP10. So you can see here that he's right next to the MP10G, and he compares really well. So he fits in kind of masterpiece scale here. And then just as another little comparison, we can bring him in next to Earthrise Prime, and then obviously without the trailers, but you can bring him next to the Prime from Siege as well, so we can see how they kind of scale next to it. And then I guess we can start the transformation. So the first thing we're going to do the little transformation on is take away the trailer. And we'll start with these guys over here. And we're going to actually start with this little Powermaster here, Jinrai. So Jinrai, let's have a little look at some close-up detail on him. Lovely chromed out here. Really, really nice the way they've done the chrome on this. Very, very shiny. So obviously he's just an engine block that transforms, but really nicely. So with the transformation on this guy, very easy. Unhook the leg. Unhook the leg and bring the leg down, twist the leg around, and then pop his arms out, and there we go. So we get some nice, really nice for a mini bot. We get very, very nice articulation with this guy. No real is there movement on the head? You get articulation on the arms, you get articulation up and down. There's nothing really on that. There's a little bit on the head, but it's a challenge to kind of do, obviously, but you do get it. The head sculpt on this guy is really, really nice. Nice white, blue, classic colors here. We get articulation on the legs, and we get a knee joint, no toe articulation, but this guy is absolutely gorgeous. If we bring him out, so a very quick comparison on this guy. If we bring out one of the Battlemasters from the Siege line, you can see he's actually a little bit about the same height as a normal Battlemaster. He just has far more sophisticated transformation and articulation. So next up, let's try the transformation on this guy. And on the cab itself, first thing you're going to do is you're going to unhook the tab here, and you're going to unhook the tab here, and then there's two tabs underneath here, and here this will just unlock all of the little leg area down here, and then you can just unhook and untap everything else from here, and that'll just unhook the cab. We're going to start with the legs. Legs will just pull down, and then lock them up with the two tabs that are here. These tabs will just fold down and tap in at the side here. Then the same on this side, so they just fold in and tap. this folds in and tabs, and this folds in and tabs. Very nice big tabs on this. The underneath here, we just fold out this side, bring the foot around. So let me do the tab at the front here first. Unhook that, very important, so you can actually bring the foot around. My bad. Has a little bit of a locker there just to lock it down. Bring these around, and then you'll have the backs of the feet that just come out. Put each section down, and then you can bring him round. We then take the body, and we can then start to work on up here. So you've got these two bits here which just open like this to separate the arms, and you bring the arms round and you bring the arms round. At this point you can fold the wheels in and push them up into the body like so. So you've got them there. Flip round this piece here. Then the arms are gonna fold down. Fold this piece down here. Fold this piece down here. Then you can fold the arms round. You've got fold out hands here at the side. They just fold out like so. And then the same on the other side. A fold out hand here. Bing. And this one, you need to make sure this stays out, and then this kind of just ratchets down like so, and then you flip out the front here, unhook that, flip this out, and then you can get his little head out then. Oh, sorry, I think I used the wrong way. Flip, yeah. So don't ratchet it down before you've got the head out, my bad. Bring the head out, flip the little tab in. Then you can bring this down and just maneuver it round there like so. And then fold out these bits here. Whoop. There's one. And there is his second piece here. Then you ratchet it down. Yeah. And you bring his arms down. And then we have Jinrai in his cab, in his full-on bot mode. So this is Powermaster Prime in his Prime mode before we connect with the trailer to put him in his full combined mode, and this is the weaker of all the modes, I would say. Certainly for Prime. It reminds me a lot, don't get me wrong, it reminds me a lot of the original Powermaster Prime, because they had, you'll see when we look at the back of this model, he has the same thing, but you know, I think this is supposed to connect up here, but for some reason mine won't. It just doesn't go down enough to be able to connect all up, so he ends up looking a little bit hollow, a little bit see-through here. But yeah, I mean, all in all, it's not bad. It's not a bad looking Prime. I like the chrome on the legs, and from a distance it looks pretty cool, but it's definitely the weaker of all the modes. So let's have a little close-up look at this guy, and we can see here the head sculpt on this is a very, very nice head sculpt. He's beautiful, lovely red eyes, really nice looking head sculpt there. I love the blue on this. Really nice plastic. The front here, I really like this grille. It's very reminiscent actually of the original Powermaster Optimus Prime. If you have a look at that guy, you'll see what I mean. But it's pretty good. But like I say, it just doesn't look right. There's a lot of gaps here that you can see. The arms, we get some nice molded detail, some blue plastic there on the arms. Lovely. When we come down to his waist, we get these bits here around his waist, and then we also get some nice chrome on the legs. The feet are nice and beefy, nice and blue. Look really cool. I like the legs on this guy. When we turn him round, we can see that it's like a false back that we have here. The chrome ass sat there, but this is actually very reminiscent of what they did with the original Powermaster. So you had a false front, and then the back was the front of the cab as well. So this actually is pretty much identical, but yeah, it's just a little bit nasty seeing the front too. There's not a lot going on at the back. A little bit of molded detail, but not too much. Obviously, the main point of reference for this is the front. If we look at the articulation on the head, we get a full 360 on a ball joint. We get a full 360 ratchet on the arms. Really nice strong ratchet there. His arms will stick out, and you can also get an extension on the arms here. Due to the transformation, he does extend pretty well. He also has a swivel at the elbow, and then on the hands we get some nice little articulation in the hands, similar to Masterpiece. We get a little finger articulation separately, and the fat hands will do a full 360 swivel. On the waist, we get an ab crunch at the, well, we get a swivel, a little bit of swivel at the waist, not much because of this. We do get a little bit of ab crunch because certainly backwards because of the transformation, so you get a little bit of ab crunch there. Legs are on a really nice ratchet, and they will also stick out to the side. You get some toe articulation here, and all importantly, of course, does he ninja kick? I'm not sure he will, because the feet are at this kind of weird angle for this guy, so he's not gonna ninja kick. No, he doesn't ninja kick because the feet are kind of at an angle to help him stand up. So accessories wise, you can see here that I've taken the guns off the trailer, and they just actually peg in. So if I bring him up to here, you can see here they just peg in. There's little pegs here at the side, which is really nice. A lot of these third parties have these little pegs for the guns instead of trying to get them to hold them. The only challenge with this guy is because the guns are so big, you can't really bend his arms too much, so you're not going to get much posability out of him when he's holding his double guns, but you will get some. So then, just for comparison, let's bring out first of all his little comrade, Jinrai, so you can see that he towers over Jinrai. Then we'll bring out Earthrise Prime, so you can see where he sits next to one of the models that is currently available on the market, one of the most popular. So he's very much, even in this mode, he's much bigger than Earthrise Prime. We can bring out Nemesis Prime, obviously another Voyager class, so pretty similar in size to the Nemesis Prime. And then see how he shapes up next to an MP, so the MP10G, right next to an MP10G. He's similar in height to the MP10G. Okay, so now let's start with the trailer, and the first thing you're going to want to do is come around here and flip around the tab that's here, and also flip around the tab that's here. What we're going to do now is we're going to transform it into the base mode. So we just flip out these little doors here on the back, so that just flips out there, and then we can flip out the top to separate out these bits, and then this tab here is very, very secure, so just it takes a little bit of wiggling. There we go, and we get there in the end, and then we can start to untab all this, which will then loosen up the legs. And then we fold this piece out, and we fold this piece out, so that's going to bring around the legs. So at this point you can bring round the arms at this point, just to kind of get them out of the way. The arms at the front, at the butt, bring them round, because you can just get everything out of the way when we transform the rest of this into the actual base mode. Then we're going to want to separate the legs, so we fold these two pieces back here, make sure that they fold back nicely with the flat edges on this piece. Then we're going to bring the legs out and round, so we can bring them down like so, and then we can bring it down like so. So we have the what looks like the start of a base here. Then once we have him in his kind of sitting position for the base, once we have this just like so, we can then fold out these two sections, this one here, and fold out, untab and fold out that section there at the front, and then this bit folds down. You can fold this to the front, and then you've got two tabs for this bit, one tab here, and you have another tab here. So you just fold that in, and then you've got the other tab there. These legs, then you're going to want to try and position these correctly, so you've got a kind of a straight angle, you see, so kind of like this one. So you've got them at a straight angle there, like so. And then once you've got them at the two angles, you can flip up these two bits here that sit there, and then the arms flip up like so. And then you have the base mode. So the base mode is, it's a base mode. You can weaponize up the base mode by taking the guns, and you can pop the guns out. The back bit then comes out here, and you can just kind of plonk these guns into the top here. It adds, angle the camera, adds a little bit more height onto the base mode itself. So you can weaponize this up like so, and then to just weapon up the front of it, you've got these little tabs here on here, so they just bring this to the front, and then you can just slide these two cannons into these two tabs, and he's weaponized the front. So guys, slight correction on my transformation. I did actually transform this one wrong slightly. These bits here, make sure these are flat out, not folded over. So this part needs to be flat. I had this folded over to the other side, so I couldn't find the port to put the next piece in. So make sure this is flat when you do the transformation. Then the next gun that you're going to bring along is this gun. You fold the bottom piece out. This bit will actually go into his hand in robot mode as well. But you've got this little tab here, then this is going to just tab in on this piece. Just at the back here, you've got one tab there for that. And then on the other side, again, we just flip it out and we tab it in. I'm not a fan of bases. I'm really not. But as far as bases go, this is a pretty funky looking base. You know, it's a pretty good looking base. If I bring out Jinrai with this, you know, you can see that this is a pretty big looking base for Jinrai to kind of work on. Jinrai does kind of fit in this gun port here, so he can stand there and look like he's firing a boom boom boom. If you've got your other Battle Masters and your Micromasters, so you can have a little look how they look on here, so they could kind of sit here as well next to it for a little bit of thing. And then also if I bring out Prime, Jinrai, he doesn't really fit in the top here. So he historically, so you can see how he stands next to it, so he towers over it. So he used to be able to in the old Powermaster, I think he used to stand in here. Jinrai doesn't really stand in here. He doesn't really fit. He can stand behind the base, obviously, and make it look like he's making everything kind of work psychically or something, I guess, or watch the base. But this is really for you to have Jinrai kind of stood in it. Let's get this thing started. So the first thing we want to do is get it, and you start with the legs. So bring the leg down along, and then this piece here that we had before, we're going to fold it up and we're going to bring it down. We're going to bring it down like so, and then just fold it around. And then we can do the same on the other one. Bring it down and just fold it in like so. Once you have the wheels like this, you're going to want to bring this round, twist, and then once it's twisted round, it just kind of sits there, and then you just push it back into position towards the back here. There we go, it just snaps into place. Turn this around. It's a little bit of a weird one, the way that it just twists around, but hey, that's okay. And then you're going to want to just push it down. Everything is kind of stiff, but it gets there in the end. Then make sure that the legs are out as far as they will go, which they are for mine. And you're going to come down the bottom here and release the tab here at the top and the tab here at the top for these feet. Then once you've released those two tabs, you can kind of bring the rest of the foot out like so, and bring that foot round. So you pull the foot out, you'll see here, you can pull his foot out like that, and it kind of just creates this massive foot here at the bottom for you, which is great. Gives him lots of balance. And then slide these pieces down, and then we have his fully transformed legs. Now that you've transformed the legs, you're going to want to just start to just look at this piece here. So just bring these bits down and down at the sides, flip the arms down, and then bring the head around to the back, because we're going to need to position the cab in the top of here. The hands here will just flip out like so. Flips out one, and then the second one we can just flip out like so. And then we have his body here fully transformed and ready to go, which is pretty cool. To transform Prime into the body and ultimately the head of Jinrai or Powermaster Prime, what we first need to do is we need to basically reverse everything that we've done here and take him almost back to cab form. So we can unpeg the arms here and here, pull him up on the ratchets that we had going on there, open up this body, and then stick his head back away. So then the head is safely away, and we can close that back up. Then with the hands, again, hands here, we're going to put the hands back away, close that up, put the hand back away, close this one back up as well. Once you close those, you can fold the back piece up here. It's already done that for me. And fold the arms in. If we remember the way that they were when we first looked at this guy, we remember that the arms were folded up like so. There's some little tabs at the top there for you to just connect into. And the same with this one here. When we bring it in and round, and then these two bits here, they just connect up like so, so that we get a nice, this piece here. Then legs wise, again, these pieces are going to have to fold in here, fold in here. This is the bits that I always forget. They're so small, sorry. Now we've transformed the top, we're going to look at the bottom. Here, what we do, first of all, we're going to need to put his little feeties back away. He doesn't need them now. He's going to have some bigger feet to walk with. So then you're going to want to turn the whole thing around 180 here at the hips. Then we're going to need to open up this port and this bit here, because everything here is going to fit into this section here. So this is where you need to start getting everything really aligned. So when you bring this back, you need to make sure you've got enough leeway for this to fit inside here like so. Unhook these bits from there so they don't catch on anything, but then you're going to want to bring these in as much as possible. These bits actually need to fit, these bits here, the pipes need to fit in between the tires there, so that you have to make sure that everything is lined up, and that both exhausts go behind the tires, and then you can kind of work down here to get this as level as possible to bring these two bits here and clip them in. You'll see it's not the easiest of jobs to actually do. So after a little bit of off-camera wrangling, this is what you should end up with. You do need to make sure that everything here is very, very squared off. This piece here will then connect in to here on the bigger robot. So you can see there, you've got this little tab there where this tabs in, and then you've got this piece here and this piece here. And what will happen is these two bits actually go down these little guides that you have here, but this has got another tricky piece. So this is the trickiest piece of the whole transformation really for me. You have two tiny tabs here and here. Everything else is very well tabbed up on this bot, but when it comes to this piece, where I would say there's the most resistance, pulling it in a different way, yeah, this is where it can get a little bit tricky. So what we do now is we just maneuver this guy into position through here, and then he should just slot down into position. So again here, had to do a little bit more off-camera wranglings to transform this guy. What I did was actually different to the way that they tell you to transform him in the instructions. Is I actually disconnected all this section and then closed it back in after dropping this in. The reason for that is these wheels, trying to get these into these slidey pieces here, I had real problems getting them in. I don't know if mine is slightly bigger wheels or something, but I don't know. But I had real challenges getting those in. He untabs here a lot when you're doing this part of the transformation. These are like some of the smallest tabs in the whole thing for some reason, on the bit with the most stress. So now we're going to bring the head through. So the head just comes through here. You want to move these feet down at the back now, so we can move these down, and this will allow the head to just come through here like so. So then we have the head that just kind of slides through here like that. This piece, 2 feet then come down at the back here, and then we have the head piece here. Now the head just tabs in, so there's 2 ways you can do this. We'll try the way that the instructions tell us first, and that kind of works. Yeah, that's gonna work, I think. But I still need to tab the chest incorrectly. Here again, these 2 pieces here, they untab on a regular basis, which is a little bit annoying, like I say, because it's the bit with the most pressure on it, and it just seems to have the smallest tabs possible. I can't really, yeah, there we go, and then the other one untabs, and then right, finally we get there, and then we go and tab the head in like so. You can do it like that, something that I find easier. You can see, like I say, the tabs. Something I find easier is actually just to disconnect the head and to just tab this piece down, and then you can just reconnect the head afterwards. That's something that I find really, really easy. So let me just reconnect his head, because it's just on the ball joint, and then we just reconnect the head, and there we finally have Powermaster Optimus Prime. Whew. Now that that's over, I will fully admit that this is one of my least favourite transformations that I have to do, and this whole piece here is just a little bit of a nightmare to actually transform. He looks fantastic when he's in this mode, but getting him here is just, oh, it's a nightmare. If these tabs were just a little bit bigger, it would make everything a lot easier. But here he is. This is Prime in his fully transformed mode, fully combined with his trailer, and I must say, this is the reason I bought this model. He looks absolutely epic. This is the best version of Powermaster Prime I've ever seen in my life. You know, Hasbro did the Power of the Primes version, but that's nothing compared to this guy. This guy, if I bring him out so that we can see him in his full glory here, he is an absolute beast of a bot. Absolutely amazing. Fans Hobbies have done an amazing job with this fully combined version. Let's bring it in now and have a little look at his head sculpt. He has a fantastic head sculpt here. Really nice looking head sculpt, obviously very similar to the original one, although the original one had a very big head, and you can buy that as an extra accessory on their website. But you know, this size head, for me, this looks good. I really like this head that they put on it. So much molded detail, so we've got a lot of chrome. Obviously, you know, we can still see all the chrome from the original cab. We have a lot of molded detail. I really like these kind of piston feet that we have down here on this. You can see where the trailer is the transformation, but we always had that on the Powermaster version as well. And the detailing on this guy just looks absolutely epic. He's very posable, even though he's a big guy. That can be a challenge with big guys to see how posable they are. So articulation, we get a full 360. At the arm, we get another full 360 at the elbow, and you get some really nice articulation here on the elbow. Hand, full 360, and also we get now on the version 2, which you didn't get with version 1, which is the articulation on the fingers. Very weird articulation with these fingers. They are forwards and backwards. They do bend in 3 ways, 3 points of articulation there. But the thumb, look at his thumb. His thumb looks like it's busted. which is bizarre. So his thumb doesn't stretch out. His thumb will kind of go to here, so he can give you the weirdest thumbs up ever. It's a very tiny thumbs up, but it doesn't go all the way up, and you can't spread the fingers out. So you get a front and back articulation, but they don't spread. So you can't give someone a high five, but you can do like a howl basically. So that's all that we can really get from the articulation there, but it's nice articulation nonetheless, because the original didn't have any articulation on the hands. When it comes to the body, we get some rotation on the hips, but it is impeded by the kind of crotch flaps that he has. We don't get any kind of ab crunch here on this. We do get some great articulation here on the legs. We get some nice ratcheted joints there on the side, and we also get some foot articulation here as well on the bottom, again on some very stiff ratchets. Will he ninja kick? No, he won't ninja kick. He's off balance because he has quite a significant backpack here round the back, but you know, that's actually very reminiscent of the original toy, and we'll let them have that because everything else is actually very, very posable with this guy. Then let's move on to his other accessories that he has. So we have the accessories. You can't have this version of Prime without his shoulder cannons. So we can attach the shoulder cannons to 2 ports here on the side that just beefs this guy up no end. And we can just look at that. I mean, that's, for me, that's classic Powermaster Prime. Then we can just rebuild the guns that we kind of took apart a little bit before, and these will then just attach into his hands the same way they did on the other bot mode, but because these are more designed for him here, so he can actually get a little bit more range of movement when he's in this mode. And then unfold his hands here and slot in his other gun there, and then he is all weaponized up and looking like a bad man. So yeah, I mean, that is an absolutely fantastic looking Prime. Love it. So now we have this dude all weaponized up and in his full mode. Let's bring him in for the comparison. So next to Siege Nemesis Prime, you can see how much this is actually extended the height of him. He towers over this Prime now. And then when we bring in Siege for the comparison, so we can see that Siege Prime, obviously about the same height, they look pretty good together, but he towers over him. But how bigger, much more bigger than a Masterpiece is he? He is much bigger than a Masterpiece. So he's like a whole deluxe size figure above a Masterpiece size. He's absolutely massive, looks great on any Masterpiece shelf. 100% this is the Masterpiece version of this figure. So now it's time for my final recommendation, and would I recommend Powermaster to anyone? I would definitely recommend picking up this guy. Is he worth the money? He's fairly expensive. I picked him. He is one of the most expensive ones that I've bought so far. He's mainly plastic. There's very little die cast on him. So if I was to compare him to something like a Civil Warrior, Commander Grant. If I had to pick between these two, I would actually pick Commander Grant as a better product. I thought this was going to be my favourite Prime when I bought this guy, and he's not my favourite. I was expecting him to really knock Commander Grant
off my favorite Prime, and he's really not managed to do that. I think this mode looks great. The base mode's okay. The other mode is a bit meh, and the truck mode looks okay when it's all weaponized, but really what it comes down to here is the transformation. For me, the transformation is a nightmare. Certainly for this one, I'm really not looking forward to ever having to transform this guy again. Commander Grant, I actually quite like the transformation on that. It goes quite well, and he's full of die cast, so he's really heavy. But this guy is yeah, he's definitely my second favorite Prime. He has his challenges. This is the version 2, so obviously now he has articulated hands, but they don't articulate fully. So he's not perfect. I was hoping this was going to be like my perfect Prime. I do think he has the best Powermaster, best Battlemaster, best Minicom thing that I've ever seen. I think this is absolutely fantastic. This is a winner for me, and this is the best version of Prime Powermaster I've ever seen. But he's not my number one Prime, and I think he is quite pricey for where he is. I think I would have liked to have seen it certainly a lower price point for this guy, but he is worth picking up, guys. I have my battles, I have my challenges with this figure, but for me, he is still worth it. But be prepared for a battle when it comes to transforming this guy. Other than that, guys, I finally got this one out. It's a good figure, bitch to transform, maybe a little bit overpriced for me, but all in all, not too bad. So guys, if you like what I'm doing around here, please give me a like, a share, and a subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Alright guys, in a bit. Peace!